crazy to think about with Stranger Things back right now in its final season and Zootopia 2 coming out, just how different the world was when both Stranger Things started and Zootopia, the first movie, came out. So the question is, can these properties that have gone on for this long, can they work in a world that we're in now where I feel like so many things have changed? Welcome back, everyone. We're going to talk about Zootopia 2, the hype behind it, and like I said, the passage of time, and if that has impacted this film, and if so, how, in this review. I'm also going to be talking about my thoughts on the new characters, the music, the world building, the lore, what we've added to Zootopia, does it work, and the overall messaging and themes of the movie, as well as the mystery, because the thing that's great about Zootopia is that ultimately it is a mystery story, which are some of my favorite stories to ever get into personally. I love reading murder mysteries. It's something I grew up doing. So this is, for me, my bread and butter. Add in the fact that we have, of course, cute anthropomorphic animal characters, and what more do you need here? Also, let's not forget that we have a lot of cast members returning that were in the original film. Pretty much everybody's back, and this cast is just stacked. So before we get into it, I want to know, were you a fan of the first Zootopia movie? And if so, why did you love it, and who are some of your favorite characters? Let me know down in the comments below. We'll start off with this review by just saying, the thing I'm so impressed with this film is that I just feel today we don't make animated movies like this anymore. And what I mean when I say that is they didn't phone any of this in. This movie, they just went for it. They didn't just half bake anything here. Every single shot, there is so much care and so much attention to detail that is put into the story, the characters' expressions, the lighting. Everything in this movie was turned up to 11 when it comes to the approach to making it. And I love how at the end of the film, they also say basically thank you to everyone at Walt Disney Animation Studios. They're basically, I feel like saying that at some point, all of the animators probably touched this film because it's such a big project, which when you watch it, you can understand this must have had a huge scope in terms of just how many people were required to bring us this film. But the other thing that I like is I feel like they may have done that as a little bit of a acknowledgement of the fact that, you know, this was animated by humans. It was made by humans. And just a reminder that real human animators made this movie. You know, it was not AI made. The other thing that I love about this film is that not only is there so much attention to detail to everything, but we didn't just do the same thing again. The thing I like about Zootopia 2 is we took this as an opportunity, this sequel, to expand on the world and expand on our cast of characters in a way that never feels like it's a chore. It feels like we're doing it organically. Everything here feels organic, and that's something I really appreciate about this film. So we get a little bit more of Zootopia in terms of where we venture out, where we explore. We go to some of the colder climates in Zootopia. We get to explore the weather wall and kind of how Zootopia works. And we get to explore the history of Zootopia, how it was founded. We get to find out about the Linksley's involvement in Zootopia, some of the history, and, you know, these reptiles that we've all been theorizing since the first movie. Where are the reptiles? Well, why have we not seen them? And of course, we get our first reptile in the film. We get a lot of new characters in this movie. We get Gary the Snake, who I love, who's played by Ke Huy Quan. And I have to say, Gary the Snake is so precious. When we meet Gary gives this little speech, and it's got to be one of the most endearing parts of the film. I really just want to protect Gary, and I feel like he's such a sweetheart. We also, of course, get the Linksleys, we get the Zebros, and we get Nibbles Maplesticks, who might be my favorite new character, possibly my favorite now character in Zootopia, who is played by Fortune Feimster. And if you don't know Fortune is a comedian. I also know Fortune from the Mindy Project and really loved her in that project as well. And she is so funny as Nibbles. Oh my goodness. The other thing I love about this movie is that I was dying the entire time. Can I just say, a film has not made me laugh this hard in a long time. And I have watched movies for adults that have jokes that are not as funny as Zootopia is. I think the thing that I really love about Zootopia as well is that the humor here, some of the humor is a little bit adult, and it feels kind of like those classic Disney films where not everything would be for children, and some of the stuff that was written there was for adults, but it was a little like, you know, the kids will understand it when they're older. It's not hurting them, and it's just giving adults something that gives them a little bit of a buy-in for the film. So it's a great family film, because I feel like if you have kids and they wanted to watch this movie 20 times, you'd probably be fine with it, because Zootopia 2 is that good, and it will make you laugh your face off each time. And that's also because we have a talented cast that has amazing comedic timing. I mean, the delivery on some of these lines is just chef's kiss perfection. I have no notes. Of course, we've got Jason Bateman returning as Nick Wilde, and we also have Ginnifer Goodwin as Judy Hopps. And they are, of course, joined by an expanding cast of amazing characters, and everyone has returned. Idris Elba even came back. Shakira came back. I love that this movie is also so beloved, I think, as well by the cast. It also probably helps that people were, I assume, paid well for this movie, and so we didn't have to change our cast like we did for Inside Out 2. So I'm hoping that everybody got a good paycheck on this. But the music in the movie, with Shakira returning, is also just as great as the first Zootopia. We have another original song. Also, I noticed the lyrics were done by my guy, Ed Sheeran. I'm a big Ed Sheeran fan, so I also just loved this track because it felt very infectious in a way that music that Ed Sheeran works on tends to feel. He is good at helping to craft mega hits, because I think Zoo's gonna be all over the place, whether you like it or not. But it's not just about the comedic timing and the characters and the world building and all of that. It's the level that we went to with even just some of the visuals in this film. Some of the way that these shots are composed and lay out is just absolute cinema. And not only that, but the lighting in some of these shots. Like, they did not need to go this hard, guys. This is a kid's movie, and yet we went so hard with it. That is the thing that I appreciate about the first film as well, is that it just goes so hard, and it hits you right in the feels, because they understand the importance of film and how imagery and music and all of these elements can come together to heighten the emotion of our stories that we're telling. And so when we get to the message of this idea of how, you know, we can be different, and yet maybe it is the fact that we're all different that makes us as a group stronger. That theme of celebrating our differences and not letting them divide us. In a world in 2025 where it feels at the time of recording that we are more divided than ever, it's a really powerful message, and they come about it in a way that feels organic. It's well crafted. When Nick and Judy have their falling out in this movie, you feel it. You feel sad, you mourn the loss of their friendship. And I personally love the way that Zootopia makes you feel for the characters and makes you feel hopeful with the messages that they give us. These messages also, like I said, just stem out of the story of what's happening with the characters. So they never feel put on. They never feel like showboaty, like, oh, this is what people want, and algorithmically we've calculated this message. It never feels like they're doing it to sell something. It feels like they're doing it because it's a part of the story, and it's something that the characters need to explore and need to get out there. The fact that we also talk about mental health in this film and the way that that is approached, I think is so well done. The fact that Judy and Nick have to go to this, you know, partners counseling as police officers, the fact that all of the other, you know, partners are the same species animal, and this is a duo that is totally unique. We have a predator and prey combo. They're different species, and they need to acknowledge their differences. And it is the fact that they are different that makes them care about one another and makes them want to help each other. And I love how they explore this idea of how what Nick does, he does out of love, and yet there are times when it bothers Judy because of her own, you know, psyche and what's going on with her. The way that they voice these concerns about how sometimes they treat one another, but it comes from a place of respect and love, so they can work through their differences and be friends and still be themselves, is like, dang, you know, this is like years of therapy that people go through to discover these things, and we're putting it in a Disney movie and showing it to people And I just feel like it has the potential to really help some people out there and heal some people out there and heal all of us, as art should do. This is art. It is commercial, but it is definitely, most definitely art. The other crazy thing with Zootopia is they didn't just go extra with the movie, they went extra on all levels. They even gave out free cards. Lorcana cards. Like, check this out. While they have these in stock, you can get this Lorcana card for free when you go to see Zootopia 2. And I have a ton of Lorcana, so how cool is that? I love a Lorcana exclusive card. And it looks super cute as well. It actually looks like such a nice little card. I think just to touch a little bit on the mystery of the film, so also I'm going to be talking a little bit about where it goes. Might be a little spoilery for the next minute or so, so skip this next time code if you do not want the mystery talked about, if you want to keep that intact. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, mystery. Here I go. I'm talking about it. I like the mystery because I thought I knew where it was going, and I kind of did. Obviously, I thought Gary was not going to be a bad guy. I think when you have someone like Key coming in, would it make sense to make him a bad guy? He seems like such a sweet person. And this character also is very sweet, very endearing with Gary. So, of course, Gary is not the bad guy. I saw that coming. But what I was not expecting to happen was for them to give me the idea that it's not just about oppressing reptiles. It's about stealing their patents. I never would have guessed that's where we were going. So when the mystery took us down that path, for me, that was a fun little twist of how we thought we understood the history of this place, but we didn't. It's also a good commentary on just history in general and how, history, people say, is written by the victors. So sometimes we can't really trust history because there could be untold histories that we need to explore. Looking at peoples that have been discriminated against for years in even human culture and mirroring some of that. I just thought it was so smartly done, and I wasn't expecting that little twist, and it was a fun topical twist to have that ties into real world stuff, but it's just something that happens in a movie that makes sense. You know what I mean? I love when things can have deeper meanings, but also they just work, so it doesn't have to have that. You can take from it what you will. I would give this movie a 5 out of 5. I think this movie is amazing. I have no notes for it, and I cannot wait to watch it again. I definitely feel like Zootopia 1 and 2, I need to own both of them. I kind of like that they leave it open at the end as well. There are possibilities for where we could go with this next, and to be honest, I'd be down for any of them because Zootopia 2 completely was a slam dunk, lived up to the hype, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Also, if you don't know, there is a Dynamite comic as well. I think it's only 6 issues at time of recording, so you could check it out. It is a Disney comic that is published by Dynamite. I did an interview with Jeff Parker. If you want to check it out, maybe we'll put it somewhere up on the screen here for you to check out. And I think this comic is really fun and really great. So if you also are hungry for more Zootopia, you can read some Zootopia too and still get to explore the world and the characters in a story that is not directly tied into Zootopia 2. So you don't have to have watched it yet or seen it to read the comic, but you could have. There's also Zootopia Plus, which I've watched and really loved, which are a bunch of little short movies that should still be on Disney Plus. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And until next time, friends, stay nerdy. Bye. And if you like when I talk about things like Zootopia, you need to check this out.